Welcome out to another episode of Meet the Cast on It's All Been Done Radio Hour. We now, for the longest time, we didn't have new cast members to talk to, but we have several new ones, and we're going to sit down today with the first of, well, not first of the new batch, because Ben joined before you, but second of the new batch, but not the last, Grace Wilson.
Hi.
Welcome, Grace. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Not too bad. Let's start with your background. Where are you from?
I am from Alaska.
What?
Yes, I know.
That's
talking
insane.
point for everybody. Now this is just going to become you asking me questions about Alaska for 30 minutes.
No, but I do think that's an interesting story. Obviously, not a lot of people are from Alaska, like in general, because it's a small population.
Yeah.
And it's also really far away. So what brought your parents to Alaska?
Yeah, so both my parents are originally from, like, the East Coast area, like Baltimore, Delaware, that area. I got married at 18, and my dad was in the military, in the Army, and so they moved around, obviously. My brother was born in Texas, and then I was born in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And then it was either before I was, like, right before I was born, and they were in South Carolina, or right after I was born, he got out, and became, I think, like somewhere like police work, and he ended up wanting to move up further than like sheriff office sort of thing. So he looked at what like police places were offering, like which police departments were offering bonuses for moving there, and he was like, all right, Colorado or Alaska. And my mom was like, maybe Colorado, and she said, Alaska it is.
Oh no, why would he do that to your mom?
Yeah, I don't know, ask her sometime.
Oh man.
Then after we moved up there, probably around, I was like 5 or 6, they got a divorce, and we just ended up staying up there for a while until my dad's in Phoenix and my mom is in Montana now, and my brother is stationed in California with the Navy.
So you guys are really spread out then.
We're all over, and my extended family is still on the East Coast. My best friends are still in Alaska. Yeah, all over. I'm not used to having family nearby.
What did you like or not like about growing up in Alaska?
I didn't know at the time, but I really liked my unique experiences.
Wrestling bears.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
obviously. Yeah, hunting, fishing, like
hunting moose from helicopters.
Not from a helicopter. That'd scare them away. They're dumb things. Subsistence living, and it wasn't like dire. We were in the city, but you know, my mom lived a little more rurally, so definitely more hunting and fishing with her side of the family, and just growing up green, I guess, and white, I guess, just cold. The snow and the cold was definitely, it tends to wear on you, but my absolute favorite thing was the midnight sun. Was just like being in the summer and it being like bright 24 hours a day for like almost what feels like 3 months straight is just such an amazing thing.
That would be my hell.
It's so wonderful. My parents hated it too. So, like, when you didn't grow up there, I think it's really hard, but I swear you feel like a little, like, Energizer bunny. Like, you don't have to stop. You feel solar-powered. You can just keep going, and you don't even know that it's 2 o'clock in the morning because it looks exactly like 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Man, I'd rather do the winters where it's dark 24 hours.
Well, it does. I mean, it does. That's the offset. That's the price you pay for the endless summer days.
See, I would say the
eternal dark winter.
The endless summer days are the price you pay for the good winter, but
it's not. But it's so cold and so. I only remember one significant week of like snow days that we got. It has to be extreme. Like when I was a kid, at elementary school, it had to be -20 before they wouldn't let you outside.
Makes sense.
So like we grew up going out no matter what and just doing.
I guess I should ask, because Alaska is the biggest state in the Union. What part of Alaska did you live in?
I'm from the South Central region, so like the Anchorage area. I'm from a little town called Eagle River.
Eagle River.
And my mom lived in Palmer, which is right next to Wasilla, which is where Sarah.
Oh, I'm familiar, of course. Of course. Whether we want to be or not, we're all familiar with Wasilla.
And then I ended up going to like hair school in Anchorage at the school that I grew up going to. It was like one of the busiest salons in Anchorage, even though it's a school. It's just really cheap haircuts. You get $10 and you get your haircut, and
nice.
And it's great learning.
Oh yeah, Eagle River is right there by Anchorage.
Yeah, but I explain this to my clients sometimes, but like basically the really big difference between driving in Alaska and driving here is that there is like one highway. It's one highway.
Highway 1. I see it on the map.
And you literally just, it's point A, point B. There's no really like turn-offs. You can stop at the dump on your way to Anchorage, but like there's no like
gas stations and McDonald's
there's no gas
and stuff.
stations. There's nothing until you get to Ticotinoo, and like there's just.
So you better fill your tank before you leave.
Yeah.
I mean, how far is Eagle River from Anchorage?
It's only about 10-20 minutes depending on how far into like Chugiak. I went to school in Chugiak, so like I was definitely on like towards that side of Eagle River, but it's so. My bus rides in the morning were like 45 minutes to school, and then like if you ride the bus from school like in Eagle River or Chugiak to like Anchorage, it was like it was your lunch hour to get over there. And
oh man,
yeah, that's the thing. It's so funny here. I'll like be like, hey guys, let's go shopping, and everyone is like, oh yeah, sure, where do you want to go? And Easton, let's go up to Easton. And they're, oh, that's like 15, 25 minutes away. I don't really want to go up that way. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? I had to drive an hour for school most days.
Yeah, if it's more than like 10 minutes, I don't want to go.
That is so funny. I asked my friends if they wanted to go on, or they asked me if they wanted to go to like on a road trip. And I was like, yeah, you guys got a new car. Where do you guys want to go? And they're like, why don't you meet us up in Seattle? And that's like the halfway point for us. And I was like, Seattle? That's on your side of the United States. That doesn't seem fair. And I like looked it up, and it was 38 hours if I drove from Columbus to Seattle. It was 44 if they drove, because they have to go through Canada and the Yukon.
Oh, jeez.
To get down.
So Seattle was fair. Seattle was fair.
Seattle was still unfair. I was still getting the better end of the deal by a day of driving.
I'm flying if it's Seattle.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, but, yeah, I'm looking here. It looks like Eagle River has a population of about 22,000. So that's like half the size of a Columbus suburb, like a Westerville or anything.
And if you're in it, you don't really notice the difference a ton. Like when you're downtown Anchorage, other than the mountain in the background, it doesn't look anything different than like downtown Columbus. But it's much smaller, and it's much more.
Well, Anchorage is a fraction the size of Columbus. It's like a tenth of size. But
when you like are in the city and you're just looking around, like if you just plopped right there and you didn't have any like anchor points, you would just be like, oh, this is a city. Like it looks kind of like not a lot of high buildings because of the earthquakes.
Right.
A couple.
And the bear attacks. And
the bear attacks, yeah, they'll climb those buildings right after.
Right.
So.
They're kind of like King Kongy.
Yeah.
Did you have much opportunity for performance in Alaska, the creative arts?
Yeah, that's where I got started. My high school definitely had a very limited performance arts program. I feel like my middle school was better. I got to do like Annie and Wizard of Oz, and my dad's favorite performance ever. I was Ursula in
Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
Great part.
When I got to high school, it was like. The best one was like Man of La Mancha, and then it went just downhill from there. It was like you can't take it with you, and we had to end up casting like double females for the father figures because it was just no program. And the director, who I won't say his name, but he was not great.
Well, I mean, it's a small town, so I'm sure everybody knows who the director is, right?
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't think he's still there. He retired from the school, and he was just always having sex with the choreographers and
allegedly,
and just really rude.
Oh man,
just a really rude guy.
Man,
and he always like skimped out on whichever. Like he always did the cheapest show. We almost did the Sister Act, and
the Sister Act.
No, not the Sister Act. Wait, what is the other nun show?
Nonsense.
It might have been Nonsense.
There's a few.
I can't remember. I don't know. But he always picked the wrong one. Like, he's like, it's between, like, this really great one and this really bad one. And I think I'm going to go with the bad one. We did Our Town.
So was he your dad? Because you were like, Colorado or Alaska? I picked Colorado. Okay, we're doing Alaska.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So that your dad was the director? No, I'm kidding.
He wishes.
How big was your high school?
I think I went to Chugiak High. It was, I think it was like my class was like 200, 206, which was the average for the city. Like
Yeah.
there's half a dozen high schools. It's a real melting pot of people. But definitely areas have like congregated like more like concentrations of different people like in certain areas of town. But like Anchorage has like a lot of large Asian populations, like Filipino, Thai, Hmong, Japanese, Chinese, and then the military brings in tons of different people from all over the U.S. So I've been told I have an accent. I got
Not much of one if you do.
know. I don't think so either. But I was at a Burger King drive-thru the other day, and I was just like, yeah, can I get a Whopper Junior? And he cut me off, and he goes, oh my gosh, girl, where are you from? And I was like, excuse me? And he was like, this is like through the speaker. And he's like, yeah, where are you from? Like, yeah, you got like an interesting accent. And I said, what do you mean? I don't have an accent. And he goes, yeah, it's like Northwestern. I was like,
Wow.
this didn't even have a camera. There was nothing in my car or on me to indicate where I was from.
He knew who you were, and he was messing with you.
I had to do a bit. I've never been to that Burger King before. I had never had like a Whopper Junior before, and I was ordering one for the first damn time, and I got spotted. I was like,
That's funny.
it's the weirdest thing.
That's just funny that if you've got a class of over 200 that your theater program. I mean, my high school had less than half that. I graduated a class of 90, and half of them were at the technical school, but we had no issue getting like enough kids in theater and doing good theater program. So it just wasn't something your area was interested in.
I don't know. I'm not real sure about the other high schools because there's
Or it could have been the director himself.
I really do think it was him.
Okay.
There's about 10 big high schools in the city. And
In the Anchorage and surrounding area?
Yeah. In the Anchorage School District is what we would call it. So like that's like nearly a 50-mile radius. Like,
Okay.
Pretty tight into like Anchorage. Chuyak was the furthest school that like reached north of Anchorage.
Okay.
And then there's not much towards Girdwood. They have their own thing. That's just south of Anchorage. So I think a couple of the other high schools were more into some of the theater programs. Like I said, my director was a real jerk. I auditioned. I was like a little freshman. I auditioned for Man on the Launch, I remember, and he was like, he didn't cast me, and I was like, whatever. I mean, I understand. He was like bribing students in his classes to like, he'll like give them grades if they come and just are in the show. So like you had people who really didn't even want to be there with people who really, really wanted to be there because he just typecasted and kind of just wanted to put things in certain places. And I remember maybe a week before the show, Man on the Launch was going to go on, a whole gaggle of kids quit. Like, they were like, F this. And they left. And so he tracked me down in the school, and he was like, "Hey, can you come fill in like six background roles in this show?" And I was like, "I guess." And I'm like, doesn't this go on Thursday? It's Monday. What are you talking about?
Man.
And he's like, "I'll just give you the notes, and you just run back and forth on the other side of the stage. I need you to be here, and then you'll have to go around the backstage and go on this side." The whole show was a mess. I ended up falling through the stage because the sets were built by us.
Oh, Jesus.
And I twisted my ankle from my foot falling through.
Mm-hmm.
And some other kid jumped on his back, and he had screws in his back. And like he got messed up, and he was one of the main bad guys. So like his back was like really delicate, and there's a rape scene in that one, and we didn't really cut it out. Like, it was
okay.
really bizarre. So I definitely didn't rely on that theater program for my to quench my thirst for theater.
Did you have any community options or anything nearby?
No, not really. It was definitely the way that most community theater goes, which is like you have to like do these camps and be in these programs and submit this much money, and then you can be there. And my parents weren't very interested in like they already had to drive me to each other's houses. They didn't really like driving me other places. So like unless I wanted to go to like a camp in Sitka, which is like hours away, for like 3 weeks out of the summer, I was like SOL. Right. So I turned to improv, which we did competitively with my school. There was competitive improv in Anchorage. It still goes on, I think. It happens at like a little I think like a little church building, and we literally just go in there and we do like, you know, PG-13 improv, and there's judges and we get judged on certain things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really fun. And so that's where I my freshman year, I just started doing it at lunchtime at the club, and then by my sophomore year, I was in training to be captain, and then I ended up moving to Phoenix my senior year of high school, where my dad was, just because I was looking for something new. And so I didn't end up captaining my senior year, but I did join improv when I went down to Phoenix. And like 40 or 50 people tried out for their team, and I made it into the 7. So
Well, that's incredible.
that was also really fun. They had that theater program in Phoenix. It was like, my dad lives in Scottsdale. It's like one of the 6 richest cities in our nation. Mm-hmm. Insane. I don't come from money. Everyone's kind of like house poor in Alaska. Like, you have things. You don't really have like liquid cash. You have like a 4-wheeler and a camper and like a boat, and like those are your money. Right. So maybe you have a cabin out in the woods or some piece of land or something. Like, it's never really like cash in Alaska. But it was cash in Phoenix, and it was assets in Phoenix. So it was like, whoa, this is a lot of money. And so we did Legally Blonde my senior year of that, and they did Hello Dolly, I think. So like 2 really big shows that they probably paid a lot of money to use.
Yeah.
And it was super fun.
So when did you move down to Phoenix?
2016.
Okay.
3 days before I started high school.
Okay. So you didn't go to high school in Alaska? Or?
I did. I did 3 years in Alaska and 1 year in
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Okay.
Just my senior year in Phoenix. I graduated with a class of like, I think
So like 3 days before you started your senior year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
3 days before I started my senior year.
Gotcha.
And then in Phoenix, it was like a class of at least 3 times. It was at least 600. I thought it was like 1,000, but like they're gonna listen to this and be like, "What the f- is this girl on?" I don't know.
Coming from Alaska, it just seemed like a lot of people.
I didn't go to graduation. It was in June in Phoenix outside.
Ew.
So, and it was also like $180 to buy the one-time use gown.
Really? Those things are nothing.
It's a very expensive school I went to. The Bachelor for that year went to that high school. It was only a 20-year-old high school.
Wow.
It was great. It's the most interesting experience I've ever had because it was just so far out of what my normal comfort zone. No kid contemplated being able to afford college.
Right.
Like everyone there, especially all the theater kids, they were going to be able to go do whatever theater program they wanted without worrying about a penny. Just nothing I have ever experienced, ever will experience, and the ignorance to wealth is definitely interesting.
Were you happy to leave Alaska for your senior year, or were you disappointed to finish it?
I wanted to.
Okay.
It was completely my choice. In fact, everyone told me no. My dad said don't. My mom said no, you're not. And my stepmom was like, But if I stayed in Alaska, I was either going to have to like get up a whole extra hour earlier than normal to get to my high school, or I was going to have to transfer to a new high school anyway in Palmer. And I just didn't have any interest. We were talking about no theater program. Out in rural Alaska, they do not have a theater program.
Yeah, I would have gotten up the extra hour early because I just can't imagine like leaving your friends and your school and everything
I like change. I love trying new things. So I went after high school. I went back to Alaska, got my license to cut hair. Cut hair for a couple years up there, and then when my boyfriend here, who we had been doing long distance for 5 years. At that point, I met him in middle school up there, and we started dating in high school, and his family moved here. We started, we did long distance for 5 years, and he was getting out of his sophomore year of high school, sophomore year of college. He's getting out of his sophomore year.
You
were
were 30. No,
I was 35.
35. He was a sophomore in high school. Yeah, I've seen that movie. No. You guys are.
He was like, I'm going to either move in with my friends or do you want to come down? And I was like, well, I'm sick of this place by myself pretty much. I mean, I had my best friends. So, yeah, I just looked for an apartment here and moved down in August of 2019.
Wow. And so you moved down for love to be with your boyfriend. And you were already cutting hair up there. So
Yes.
when you moved here?
When I moved here, I took the test pretty much right away to transfer my license. I think there could have been some reciprocity, but it was like short by like an hour or two, and I just didn't feel like shoring it up. So I just spent a couple $100 and took the test here, which was significantly easier than the test in Alaska. Like, it's supposed to be federally standardized, and it is not. It was like
Weird.
235 questions, like, for the practical in Alaska. It was 2 days. And here it was like an 8 or 9 hour day and 100 questions plus the practical.
I guess in Alaska, if you screw up, they're going to stick a bear on you to maul you.
Yeah,
Whereas here,
yeah.
you just get Karen to yell at you.
They'll sentence you to an Aleutian Island.
Right. And then here, you just have a Karen show up and yell and ask for the manager. No, that's insane.
I also struggled here when I moved here. Like, so I found a job right away and I was super excited. I really liked it. Unfortunately, I don't think any of the women there liked me. It was like a small salon within walking distance of my apartment. So I was just really excited and I really liked it. But it's the only job I've ever been let go from.
Oh, wow.
I've never been fired. And of course, it's at a state where they don't have to tell you.
Right. We're at will.
Yeah, at will.
So stupid.
The,
no worker
employment
protections.
laws here suck.
Oh,
But
so they.
in Alaska, it is a state law that if you work more than 8 hours a day, that you will get time and a half. It's not per company. It is a actual law that is enforced.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we live in this red state.
Yeah, I don't
hellscape.
I don't like it here.
No. I like a lot of Ohio, but our state government has gone so far extremist and off the rails and anti-worker and it's just absolutely awful.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, they're competing with Florida and Texas and trying to be the worst.
So I really tried to make it work at different salons, but there's a lot of toxicity in the city. I think that certain salon schools are really toxic and they're teaching the wrong things, and then opportunists are coming in with like big business ideas and small business settings, and I think it's very unattractive. And I don't care for contracts or non-competes or NDAs or anything like that, and I ended up getting wrapped up in some of that. I was smart enough to make a clause to get myself out, but not without some scrapes and cuts on the way. And I ended up working for Great Clips right before in February of 2020, and they were taking good care of me, and I was just starting to do some more stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Just starting to do some more interviews to like find I just really love full service, like color and everything. So Great Clips wasn't gonna cut it.
I see what you did there.
But then COVID hit and shit hit the fan. My partner was in the UK at the time, and I was like, oh, this is great. I will say I have nothing bad to say about Great Clips. They are, at least Dan Maris is like one of the nicest men I think I've ever met. Like on the day that like we all lost our jobs, he called every single person that worked for him, which was like, he owns like 16 or 17 of the Great Clips in the Columbus area.
Oh, wow.
And he called every single girl, every single woman, every single man, anybody who worked for him, and was like, do you have food? Do you have money? Do you have shelter? Are you okay? Are you safe? Like, just checking in with us. And then he gave out like loans to people, which he said he was going to collect on. Ended up just forgiving all of them, which I don't think it was a ton. Nobody ended up taking like too much, but like he just forgave it, and it was just he's just a kind being. And I really considered going to management with them, but I just felt my calling was still with. Like,
you wanted to do things
service.
so
my partner was like, you should just open up. And I'm like, you don't just open up with no clients. And he goes, yeah, you do. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And I did. December of 2020, I started looking into salon life, like on my own. And I got connected with my salon suites, and I opened up my own LLC here, which is called Midnight Sun Beauty. It's been almost 3 years now, so it's crazy.
And according to your IABD wiki, it is one of the top-rated salons in Grandview Heights.
It is. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna like attract people like just looking to give me bad reviews, but I've received no bad reviews on any platform, which is just insane, because people are people, and no matter how hard you try, things happen. And I just feel so lucky that everyone is so kind, and like that I've been able to make so many people happy.
Nice. And then you got involved in the creative arts in Columbus as well, starting with improv.
Yeah, the first week I got here, I was like, I was like sitting in my apartment. My boyfriend had to go back up north where his family is to finish out his like summer job. Had like a week left. I was like, don't worry about it. Like, I'll be here. Like, I'm going to make our apartment home and, you know, make it cozy. And he left, and like 2 seconds later, I'm sitting on my floor of my empty apartment, and I'm just like, I need friends. I immediately started looking up what improv scenes are here in the city. I did start getting involved, like, right before I left Anchorage. Scared Scriptless was, like, and Urban Yeti are, like, the two big improv teams in like Alaska that perform around the city. So I got to do some work with them and some workshops and some actual shows with them, which is really fun. But that was like the furthest my like real professional, I did air quotes, professional improv was at. So I looked up here and I found a meetup. The improv at Gresso's. It happens every Thursday except Thanksgiving at 7:00. It's really fun. I started just going, and then they took a month or a year and a half after COVID. You know, we all did, and got back into it. And now I'm even leading often coaching nights through improv, just hosting for everyone to just enjoy and come play games. And you can come to network and meet people. You can come to learn about improv. You can come having no experience. You can come having all the experience. It's just a really fun, easygoing night of improv.
You didn't check your non-compete clause when you signed up for this troupe that you're not allowed to do other creative projects?
That was forever ago, and I bought myself out of it.
Obviously, we do not have a non-compete clause. That is a joke. Please enjoy seeing our people in other stuff because you guys are talented and have lots of creative energy to give out there.
Well, so that's how I found Radio Hours. I met Kristen and Shane at a meetup after COVID. And just as we started getting to know each other, it was like summer going into fall. And then I was just really busy, still trying to just not be poor. And they were like, and it was definitely a season of change. Like, that was like when I was opening up my salon and everything. It was crazy. And they were like, you should come see our Radio Hour show. And I was like, what the heck is that? And they're like, do you like voice acting? I was like, do I? I do.
Do I? Absolutely not.
Do I? That sounds stupid. A dumb thing. It's a dumb thing I would never like.
Yeah.
So I think my first show was either the November or the December show of 2020.
2021.
There we go.
Yeah.
2021.
We were still on Zoom at the end of 2020.
Yeah, I was like, wait, the math ain't mathin'.
You came to YouTube?
Yeah. And I was like, oh no, I'm in love. What do I do to ingrain myself in part of this and make you guys not be able to live without me?
Right.
So working on it.
Absolutely.
But it's becoming malignant.
Once you're in, it's pretty hard to get out.
Yes, definitely. I'm just super excited. I'm super excited for our anniversary show.
Yeah. Our 100th monthly show, which already happened by the time you hear this, but months ago.
But I'm super excited.
Excellent. Yeah, so you came November or December. I remember hanging out with you after the show.
I immediately came. I was like, Kristen is like, yeah, we usually go get drinks. I said, okay, cool, I'll come. I don't even know. Honestly, I'd love to see if she even, like, actually invited me. Like, because I was just, I usually don't like to go anywhere I'm not wanted. I have, like, the only anxiety I have in life revolves around, like, friendship and, like, people being... I just don't want to be anywhere I'm not wanted. Sure.
And yet you come back month after month.
Yeah, I come back. This is the one place I will be where I am wanted or not. I'd love to ask her if she actually wanted me to go out with them. I think so. I think she cared. I think she
did, because she has been very clear that she is protective of Radio Hour.
Very protective of Radio Hour.
And she only brings people around that she thinks would actually be a good fit.
Yeah, which I can understand why. Like, this is such a safe group, and I think you've heard it time and time again, but one of the most non-toxic theater troupes I think I've ever seen.
They tell me.
Yeah.
I keep trying to break that.
You keep trying to get toxic.
I'm trying so hard. I'm just terrible at it. So then you auditioned, and you were first in the show in January 2022.
Yeah, I think I got in on, like, the first audition that I sent in for the show. Like, I don't think I had auditioned I think I only auditioned, like, that was the first time I had auditioned.
I think you're probably right.
And I was like, is he just doing this because, like, we hung out that one time? But now I know that everyone loves the stupid Winnie the Pooh voice.
Well, that wasn't, Winnie the Pooh was your second appearance.
Was it?
It was. I thought it was your first as well, but I have the cast list up here in front of me.
Oh, the
Nygar.
Yes. Yes. Which I completely slipped in and out of the voice that I was doing the entire time. It's probably it's awful.
I would say
it's not relevant though, so it's like a, you know,
I thought it worked fine.
Contextually important at the moment, but then it's not relevant probably at all ever again. So
I don't know. We'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see. But yeah, so no, I don't cast people just because I like hanging out with them, and I certainly don't cast people twice just because I like hanging out with them.
Or the 3 times, or the 6th time.
Or let you into the troupe.
Or let me into the troupe.
Right. I mean, the fact that you had my children at gunpoint did influence my decision a little bit, but you know.
I thought so. Hanging your wife over the edge of a building didn't do it, so I had to go for kiddos.
I know. And, you know, I still, my instinct was to say no, but at the end, their cries just changed my mind.
I love them.
The tears.
Little guys.
And you let them keep most of their limbs, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Most of them.
I'm not real into collecting children's limbs.
Right.
So
I didn't think you'd keep them. I thought you'd throw them away.
Well, I'm not going to throw away a good limb.
So what'd you do with the ones you kept?
It's none of your business.
Okay, fair enough.
You don't just go asking a lady about where she keeps her limbs, okay?
I'll wait for the court transcript.
What she does with them, okay?
So yeah, you played Nygar, but yeah, Winnie the Pooh was your second appearance in It's All Been Theater, and that was so freaking hilarious.
It's so dumb. It's not even a good, and everyone listening knows it's not a good Winnie the Pooh.
But
I was so
what
convinced
is a good Winnie the Pooh?
For just a minute that it was like a good, like copy of Winnie the Pooh. I always forget how high my voice is. Like in my head, I don't sound half as high pitched as I.
You sound very high right now.
I know.
Okay. So we're very clear we didn't want to just copy Disney because we didn't want to get into legal trouble. So we don't want it to be an exact copy. We want it to be its own thing.
I know, but I thought it would be like close enough. But I think if you just showed a snippet of it to someone else, they would be like, I have no idea who this person is trying to pretend.
It's perfect for the way the part is written.
Again, contextually.
Contextually, it works wonderfully. So yeah, you did that, and then you kept auditioning, and sometimes you got cast, and sometimes you didn't, until you worked your way up through. You played a bunch of roles.
There was a lot of really interesting things we did. Like the Daniel Kravitz musical was that year, which Tristan, my partner, played the cajon in for you guys.
Yes. Helped with some instrumentation.
Yeah. And so like there was a lot of shows last year where there wasn't a lot of good parts for me, like in terms of like guest starring and stuff like that. We were in a lot of like story-wise developmental like periods that were like, these are what's happening to the characters we already have. So like, there's not a lot of influence from like other characters other than 2 lines here and there, which you can go.
And we're trying not to put too many parts in the audition packet, so the troupe has more opportunity. Yeah. So yeah, there probably wasn't.
So then I knew I had to go for troupedom.
You did. And so, I was going to say, I'm looking, and you guest starred like 4 times the first year.
Yeah.
And then...
2 or 3 more times.
And then, like, as this goes live, the February show is on the podcast. The March show is when you became a troupe member.
March was
so this podcast will go live right before your troupe status hits.
Nice.
And also where you played 2 great roles that we can only touch upon because they haven't heard them yet. I really liked your Priscilla in Life with a Voice Actor.
Oh, yes, that's a good
Priscilla von Houten or whatever.
Van Hosten.
the mother of...
oh, yes.
Yes, that's a great, fun character. And then, of course... Ensign Nito in Universe Journey.
Yes, Nito.
Which was a one-off throwaway
it was,
part,
wasn't it?
But I really liked it. And I thought, well, first of all, you have really good chemistry with Sam as Foley, right?
It is fun. We just have fun together.
And where his character is, we need a character like that to be poking at him. Yeah. And so it worked really well to keep bringing that character back because there wasn't a good reason to send any of our other main characters down to have that interaction.
Right.
So bringing in this new part made sense. But I think... and you can disagree with me if I'm wrong, but I think over time that character is actually kind of growing into its own person and not just there to needle Foley, but now we're starting to find out who she is.
Yeah, I know. And I was once again worried that you were doing it just because, like, you know, new cast member, you don't have like a lot of reoccurring. And I know that in my heart, Jim, but like the anxiety like still peaks that you're just doing this. I'm like, no, we can write Nito out. It's okay. We don't need to.
I'm just making people care before I kill her. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's what you love to do, isn't it? One more. How much more can you take from Foley? You gotta.
Well, Foley hates Nito, so I think he would rejoice at her death. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, you're right. Foley has gone through some stuff.
Oh my God. To everyone listening, I just finished binging all of Radio Hour. More than just what I listened to, like up into all of it. Yeah. And so like having come from...
She wasn't kidding when she said she loves the show.
24 hours a day.
Yeah.
9 days a week.
That's impressive.
Right? I think so. And so like I just come from binging it, and it's just it's so funny to come from like really nonsense characters to, you know, Foley going through lifetimes without
He was the goofiest character in the beginning.
I know, because Seamus Talty played him first. And, and to be honest, like, it's such a wonderful transition. It's such a seamless, transition, and it's. I would hope that Seamus approves of.
He does.
Well, I'm sure you.
He's very. I text Seamus all the time. No, Seamus left on very good terms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was just ready to stop performing and wish him well, and still love the man. Yeah. But yeah, the recasting a character that established was a hard decision. But it did not feel. He left like right after he went through all the tragedy. And it was like, we can't just drop the character now. No. We have to stay around long enough to see him come out of it. Yeah. But here we are several years later, and he has not come out of it. In fact, it's just gotten worse.
And I was listening to it, and I remember hearing you say that the other day at a drinks or something, and I was thinking, I like listened to all of it, and I was like, he hasn't given this man time to grieve. This is still trauma constantly happening. As soon as he came out of, his like eon or his years of life with other people, he immediately had to go fix other problems and
then command a ship for a year.
Command a ship and
hold it together and
immediately get into a new relationship with Luna.
Yeah.
And
then leave her behind.
Oh, so sad.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
But I think Nito's a good foil to help Foley through this next stage of his development. And I promise you that the chickens will come home to roost on that story. We will not leave him.
Scarier. Chickens come home to roost is a threat, man. That's a threat.
Not necessarily. I just mean we will have
implicitly.
All I meant is we're going to have some resolution to the story. It just will not be suffering indefinitely.
Don't worry. Foley's chickens will come home to roost. You'll have a happy ending.
Maybe you don't like chickens in Alaska, but here in Ohio.
Excuse me, sir. There is a place in Alaska called Chicken Alaska, and we're very proud of it. Thank you. And I'm
very proud of your evil blood drinking chickens.
Fucking with you, but it is real Chicken Alaska.
I believe you.
I think it's spelled stupid, but.
Oh, of course. It is Alaska. Yeah. So I don't know enough to be mean to Alaska. But so yeah, you got to be in you weren't in the Kravitz musical because there weren't really. There was maybe one part. I think there was like one, but yeah, you were in the big Scary Dead Porn Stars crossover though.
I was.
You got to be in that special, which was fun.
I had to stand away from the mic for most because
I know because that was a fun character. Fire. And then one of my other favorites that the podcast listeners will have just gotten to see recently was your turn in Macbeth as one of the three witches.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. Oh my goodness. It's All Been Theater is probably one of my favorite. It's the one I'm in the most frequently.
It has the most extra parts.
There's one today in this episode for Saturday. What is
September 14th.
September 14th.
It's September. Or 10th. September 9th. Today? No, it's the 9th. September 9th.
It's September 9th.
Next month it's the 14th.
September 9th. The episode today has, and It's All Been Theater, and it's
The Frogs Who Demanded a King.
It's so good.
It's Darren. Darren wrote it.
Yeah, we know.
Bow down to Darren's brilliance and his gummies. So, yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be months before you hear it, unless you're a Patreon donor. If you are, get on the feed and go listen to September.
Yeah.
$5 a month, that's all it takes. As Grace will remind you every month. You don't remind him every month in the opening.
A lot of them. Donate
donate to the Patreon. You said that a lot, yeah.
Donate to the Patreon.
Until we moved you to Hi, my name is Grace.
Oh my God. I'm gonna really ham it up today too for like Wendy after this whole conversation.
You do. What has been your favorite part of being involved in the show in the last year plus? Almost 2 years.
I think I felt myself grow.
Yeah.
I really.
You think so, really?
I think
really?
So.
No, you definitely have.
I have to think about it.
You definitely have.
I mean, even just listening to that first podcast, I was like, oh, I did grow. And, and not the, most improved award should have been my award given. Participation.
Oh, Grace, you sell yourself short sometimes.
Which is I'm so full of myself.
I know, and yet sometimes you're hard on yourself too.
Yeah, well, I like to keep it humble, Word to my I don't.
I think you can tell that Grace and I have already become good friends and enjoy each other's company.
I bought my way in.
Absolutely. No, you joined legitimately through good hard work and lots of talent, and also just having a personality that has been a wonderful addition to the troupe. So I appreciate what you bring.
I think the thing I've enjoyed the most is just definitely the growth, becoming closer to people. Like sometimes it's hard, not everybody is able to hang out. A lot of people live far away, so like on the off occasions I can make a minute before the show to just go talk to somebody I haven't talked to in technically a whole month. Yeah. Or even longer if I just happen to not work with them or talk to them in the last month. So I really like to make the time to go around and talk to people and try to become more friendly, because it's like we're friends by like association. It's like a very like surface level friendship that everyone has, just automatically being accepted because everyone's so kind and nice. But I really like to form just slightly deeper connections with everyone and get that chemistry.
Yeah.
I plan to continue to grow and get into directing and writing and.
Yeah, you're directing today with Nick shadowing you. Yes. The completion of your director's training program.
Yes. The very intensive director's training program. Hey, I'd like to direct. All right, here you go.
Well, we have you shadow, and then we have you shadowed. But yeah, it would be ridiculous to put you through an intense program.
I don't know if it would be. I don't have that much experience doing it, but I guess it's I'm definitely a hands-on learner. So.
Well, you're the first one that's actually gone through the formal director's program that we set 2 years ago, because Kristen and Sam were the last two directors we added, and they'd both been with the show 5 years or more at the time, and we're like, we just want to direct, and sure, go for it.
Right.
And Shane wanted to direct once, but it was during the pandemic, and
he's the technical director, so
he'd only do it during the pandemic when he didn't have technical work to do. He's the tech director. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. He did do it when it was over. Yeah. That makes so much sense, because I was like, it would be so stressful. I thought it was stressful just today with just happen chance how much I'm in today's show versus how much I've been regularly in it for the last year-ish. Of course, the episode I'm directing is the one that I'm kind of in. Kristen said, pay attention to the Trello and make sure that you dibs on months that aren't you're not in very much.
We try, but it's hard. It is hard because.
But I trust everyone around me to catch something if I don't,
right.
Or to help me see what I'm doing or not doing.
And I will annoyingly micromanage as well, because I backseat direct.
I love when our notes match almost perfectly. Yeah. I feel so validated.
Oh, it makes it easier for me. I love it too. Then I don't have to speak up so much. That's why you get to give notes first, so I can keep my mouth shut, because I'm not the director. I'm just weighing in my 2 cents, because I love the show and I hope I help it in some way. You also help with story pitches. You recently sent me a script I haven't looked at yet that you wrote, but you also help with coming up with story arcs and stuff. Yeah. So I think you've been.
I think just being able to brainstorm with you at drinks and just kind of shoot the shit and help you work through ideas and help Kristen and Shane work through ideas and just ask hard questions about characters and stuff like that.
Is there something that you're itching to do with the show you haven't gotten to do yet? Whether it be be in a certain segment or do another job, whatever?
I'd like to write some lyrics.
Yeah?
Yeah, I want to write more.
There may be an opportunity pretty soon for that.
I want to write more like musical commercials.
Okay.
I love the news and the noobs, but it has been heavy with them lately. So I've been wanting to, take some weight off their shoulders. Make them real happy,
Yeah, that's the...
I don't think I have not had a segment with the noobs.
You haven't?
I have not.
Well, we were going through the cast list, but when we finished the arc, finished the roster, I think you weren't in the cast yet. So you may have somehow snicked by that.
Been plenty of
And
guest
Beth's
stars.
already done it twice.
I know.
Well, I like her more.
Well, and Beth is 1 month or 2 months after me, so she doesn't have a ton of recurring roles yet.
Oh yeah, she just joined.
It's good to just get everybody in and.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, when we finished the rotation, you had not been in yet. Ben had just joined, and he was the last one at the end of the rotation. I thought it was
so funny. I was just I was thinking about that the other day when I was listening to the noobs on the podcast, and I was like,
Well, let me make a note that we owe Grace a noobs. Or news now, because you missed the noobs. That's gone.
Yeah.
Forever and ever.
Yeah, I've been around for when it was still the noobs, in terms of getting to watch and stuff like that. But.
Yeah, you have. So anything else before we wrap up that you want to say about your life or the show or anything?
Oh, I see. You don't do the question thing anymore, huh?
What question thing?
I'm telling you, I came fresh off of this. In some of the earliest episodes, you were copying another podcast, and you were having the last person.
Oh yeah, we did do that for the next person.
Yeah, this is proof that I listened.
Clearly. Thank you for reminding me. Now that you say it, I remember.
Well, now it's too late.
Yeah, I didn't have anybody get you a question. Here, hang on 1 second.
I was gonna ask Ben.
I'm gonna whoever's standing there. So I'm sure the listening audience didn't hear that, even though you did. So Shane's question to Grace is if you could take over an existing role from another cast member, preferably without murder, but however you do it is fine. Which would it be?
Less importantly, it's not necessarily a role. I want to sing the Top Notch Tangler theme instead of Nick.
Well, Keats is backup. So.
I know.
Seamus was the backup.
Do you know how I've been, for 3 months, I've been singing along. I sing along to the themes.
Well,
a role? I can't think of anything that I could bring. It's something I just enjoy. I think that if Tim had an episode where he switched genders, if he had just had a gender switch, literally, and he was female or a woman for a day or an episode, I think that would be very funny. So vigorously taking notes.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just playing on my computer. I don't write down anything. Well, thank you for sitting down and for everything you've contributed to the show thus far.
Thank you.
It's a joy to have you.
I know.
That was It's All Been Done Radio Hour number 455. Meet the cast number 42, Grace Wilson. That obviously was an interview I enjoyed very much, I being Jerome Wetzel, the creator and producer of the show, sitting down with Grace Wilson, one of our newer cast members. Thank you very much for listening. Please support us at patreon.com/IABD. We're currently doing a special Patreon drive for this month. Help us leap into leap year. So go to patreon.com/IABD and become a member. We've got some really cool prizes, including you can get your own stuffed meep. And till then, have a great week. It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?